Vande Guru, Vande Guru, Vande Guru, Vande Guru, Vande Guru, Vande Guru, Vande Guru.
Now, let me invite Mr. Mukesh Shailath, Principal DPS Varanasi and the Zonal Director of CEIR UP region. Sir, please.
Thank you, Srisul. Jai Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Jai Swaminarayan to all of you. It's a great pleasure to be here this evening with a luminary and a brilliant motivational speaker, Sadhu Gyanvatsaldas, who comes from the Bochasad Akshar Purushottam Sanstha. It's a worldwide organization. We'll talk about the organization a little later. But Swamiji is a brilliant international speaker, a motivational speaker. I'm sure some of you have been familiar with his YouTube videos because he has lectured at several institutions. So welcome Swamiji and Jai Swaminarayan to you. I welcome you with humility in my heart and with a lot of holiness devoted to you. Thank you for joining us this evening out of your brief, busy schedule. We will now, just before we move to Soiji's speech, we'll go back to what CEIR is all about. So CEIR is a trust, basically, which comprises leaders, experts, and scholars, which hopes to nourish the educational space in the country and take it up to global standards. With the new NEP that has come in, a lot of work has been done by CEIR, to fulfill its vision through its board of directors, six board of directors, and a huge plethora of zonal directors whom you see on the screen. We also have about 7 zonal directors from the Middle East, and we have a large participation of teachers and principals from the Middle East as well. The CEIR is truly international as well. We also have a lot of premium members who have joined the organization. And of course, there is no fee for any of these memberships. CEIR over the years has conducted several events with 11 principals conclaves, about webinars with CBSE officials. We have a regular Saturday webinar happening under various topics, right from career to army leadership, and the one that we have today. There is a Handwriting Easy program which is powered by the Veda Handwriting Lab, and at this stage I must say that the Veda Handwriting Lab has done wonderful work as far as improving and training the handwriting is concerned. Several other programs that we have done ever since the NEP was launched. First and foremost is we did a beautiful all India quiz, which was attended by over 15,000 participants, if I'm not mistaken. Suresh sir, who was perhaps the the brain behind the quiz, did a brilliant job, and in fact, a lot of DPS teachers also participated, and we enjoyed participating in the quiz. Following the quiz, we did a pedagogy series, of different stages of NEP. So foundational, preparatory, middle level, and the secondary level. You will see that very shortly on the screen. About eight speakers we had, drawn from different parts of the country, and yours truly was a part of it as well. and some of my very brilliant colleagues, Pallavi, Deepa, Bindu, Manila, and Radhakrishnan sir also a part of it. We also have an application now for all of us to be, connecting with CEIR very easily. So there is an app which you may download from Google Store, Google Play Store, and you will directly connect to all the Saturday webinars that we have. So much about CEIR. And now let's move on to the, I already mentioned about the handwriting, the Srisan, who is the, brain behind the Veda Handwriting Lab, has something beautiful to say, that handwriting can be trained or can be untrained. There is no good or bad handwriting. And we've started a challenge, handwriting improvement challenge program, which is on 30th May between 11:30 and 1:30 p.m. The link of registration will be shared in the chat box as we proceed towards the end of the webinar. Srisan, I'm sure you'll make a note of that so that the link is shared and people who want to join don't miss it. Our congratulations to Vamsi Priya, who is our Zonal Director for Bangalore East, for being elected the chairperson of the Bangalore Sahodaya School Complex. Congratulations, Vamshi ma'am. I'm sure the Sahodaya will do brilliant work under your chairmanship. With this, we move perhaps to, I think, the organization which is now going to start, which is already launched, the Excellence Award for Schools. There is no registration fee, please note. There are a lot of paid awards available in the educational space today, but CEIR does not believe in that. It's a completely merit-based award. A beautiful panel has already been constituted, and those who wish to nominate their schools may just visit the website, which is you see on screen, and be a part of it. I'm sure you'll all have a great time with nominating yourself and going through the award process. Now let's get to the man of the hour, the man of the moment, Sadhu Gyanvatsaldas, an international motivational speaker from, as I said, the Bochasan Akshar Purushottam Swaminarayan Sanstha. Swamiji completed his mechanical engineering from Vallabh Vidyanagar. Can we have the next slide, please?
It is there, sir.
Right. From Vallabh Vidyanagar, a mechanical engineer, and he was initiated into the Sadhu fold in 1992. And since then, he's done yeoman service in all the humanitarian aspects of the organization. Apart from that, he has been a motivational speaker. He's connected with so many millions of families across the world, not necessarily Indian, but across ethnicities also. He has spoken in India, USA, Europe, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, some of the countries where he has been actually sought after as a speaker. And of course, after the COVID, I think he's been even more sought after in the format of the webinar and has delivered over 15,000 lectures. Some of the organizations are DRDO, IIM, and a whole lot of the Jain Foundation and lots of other organizations which of absolutely international repute. The Bochasan Akshar Purushottam Sanstha, of which Swamiji is a member and a very, very active member, I must say, is a socio-spiritual organization of India. It has about 162 humanitarian activities across 60 countries of the world. It is in the consultative status with the United Nations. We all know, we have heard and visited these two temples known as Akshardham, one in Gandhinagar and one in New Delhi. Apart from these cultural centers, we have about 3,550 centers across the world, with over 1,100 temples built across the world. Some of them are notable there in Atlanta, Auckland, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles, Nairobi, Robbinsville, Sydney, Toronto, and the first Hindu temple is under construction in Abu Dhabi, all thanks to, the great temple builder, our Pramukh Swami Maharaj, who was our guru of this, he just attained Samadhi a few years ago, and the present guru, Mahant Swamiji, is leading, in the same way in the path of spiritual guru, His Holiness Pramukh Swami. Over to you, Swamiji, with this brief introduction of the Sanstha, and you. We are eager to listen to you. Jai Swaminarayan.
Good evening, everybody.
with prostrations at the divine feet of Bhagavan Swaminarayan and my Guru Hari, Param Puja Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and my Pragat Guru Hari, Param Puja Mahan Swami Maharaj, my heartiest namaskar, good evening, and Jai Swami Narayan to all the respected principals, teachers of CEIR, and I must especially thank Shri Mukesh Pai Shelat for being the connecting link, being the bridge between us today and organizing this webinar. We are always taught Acharya Devo Bhava. All of you being Acharyas, I bow down at your humble feet, very humbly, and do pranams, because Acharya Devo Bhava is deeply rooted in our culture, in our tradition, and in the system that we are taught. Well, the topic for today, roots to wings. That means more stronger the roots, more deep the roots, more enriched the roots, better the flight, stronger the wings, more the distance covered. So if you want to carve out a perfect professional, if you want to carve out a great human being from your student, you all being teachers, principals, that is educators, you always want to carve out a wonderful ace professional and a great human being, a combination of these two out of your students. You need to make their roots more strong, more deep, with strong foundations, and more enriched with minerals. Because teachers are the architects of the future. It is in the hands of teachers to create the next generation of the society and thus build the nation. Whenever I meet teachers, whenever I have a seminar or a webinar to talk to teachers, I always feel very humble because I always have had and I will have great respect and admiration in my heart and mind for teachers, because whatever we are today is because of our teachers and parents. And I take this occasion today again to pay my humble respects to all the teachers who have carved me out, whatever small I am today. So teachers are the architects of the future. In their hands lies the future of the society. In their hands lies the development of the nation. So if we want to see India into a developed country, if we want to see India into a superpower, it all lies in the hands of you all, the teachers. Bhagavan Swaminarayan has given the Siksha Patra, the essence of all the scriptures, in which he writes that imparting knowledge is the greatest service to society. The teachers are the greatest benefactors of the society, because knowledge is power. Knowledge is future. It is something which remains with you lifetime, and it is something, rather the only thing, which increases by distribution. So my first point, and that this topic, roots to wings. As teachers, we all know that knowledge is power, but we need to induce this in the hearts and minds of children, of students. That, see, my son, knowledge is power. In the worst times of your life, what will remain with you if everything else goes away is your knowledge. Am I right or wrong? Yes. Because you as teachers ask your students to raise your hands when you say something. Yes, I'll be asking you a couple of times to raise your hands. So first important aspect of strengthening the root is understanding, created in the hearts and minds of your students, that knowledge is power. Once upon a time, during the kingship times of India, Peshwa Madhavrao of Pune was on a fine full moon day morning sitting to distribute alms, to donate money, cloth, grains, even gold, whatever people wanted. On every full moon day morning, he would do this. Peshwa Madhavrao and his assistant could see a small little boy, must be at the age of 7 or 8, not joining the queue, standing aloof and watching everything that was happening. After the queue was over, Peshwa Madhavrao called this little boy near and said, I see you standing aloof from this queue. You didn't join the queue to take alms from me. What do you want? Can I give you something that can make you happy? And the little boy said, see, if you give me money, it can be spent and I can become a pauper again. If you give me clothes, after a few months or a couple of years, it may wear and tear off. If you give me grains, I shall eat for a few months and then it will get exhausted. If you give me a piece of land, it also, when I close my eyes, doesn't stand with me. Then what do you want, my little boy? Asked Peshwa Madhavrao. And the little boy said, I'm an orphan. But if you can make arrangements for my studies, I want to study well. I want to be a knowledgeable person. And by that knowledge, I want to serve the society and impart that knowledge to hundreds of my next generation fellow men so as to make the society and nation great. Peshwa Madhavrao was very happy and immediately ordered his finance minister to make all the necessary arrangements for this little boy. The little boy studied well. He was a brilliant boy. And as time passed, that little boy became one of the most respectable judges in the judicial system of India. I'm talking of none other than Ramamurthy. This is the story of Ramamurthy. So when we can, as teachers and educators, imbibe this element in the hearts and minds of children, that knowledge is power, knowledge is future, knowledge is strengthening the society, knowledge is building the nation. The first big battle against illiteracy is won. And it is a must. Whatever we can, wherever we can, we must always try to help the students out. By this example of Peshwa Madhavrao and Ramamurthy, I want to put forward a point that you as educators must be teaching hundreds and thousands of students. And so far, hundreds and thousands of students might have passed graduating under you, but you need to pick up a few students for personal care. You need to pick up a few students for personal attention so that you can carve out a Ramamurthy or Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam out of it. Whenever I'm sharing my thoughts with the teachers, I put forward this point that before you complete your career as a teacher, as an educator, if you have not given one Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam to the society and the nation, your career is incomplete. Though you have educated hundreds of students, though you have educated hundreds of children to graduation, post-graduation, chartered accountancy, medicine, engineering, it's fine, it's great. All kudos to you. You have done great service. But give one Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam class person to the society, which the onus of it lies on you. 10,000 students taught, great. And one Dr. Kalam produced, bigger great than that. So, as Peshwa Madhavrao did for Ram Murthy, you, as part of the session today, must pick up your pen and a piece of paper and write this, that before I complete my career, I need to give such a great personality to the country that for tens of decades, people could remember him, people could learn from his life, and people could imitate and serve the society and nation well. This is the first important aspect of being an educator. Another aspect that I would like to put forward when we want to strengthen the roots so as to strengthen the wings. Again, I repeat, strengthening the roots, deepening the roots by culture, by tradition, by values, by virtues, enriching them by all this will make the wings of your students better, stronger. One wing of your student is being an ace professional. The second wing of your student is being a great human being. I think all of you will agree with me when I put forward this point, that a student as a citizen will fly high, will fly long with these two wings. Isn't it? One wing being the wing of being an ace professional in whichever field he is. And second wing is being a great human being. Do you agree with me or not? Just raise your hands if you say yes. Being an ace professional and a great human being. This is what we need to carve out from every student. This is the need of the hour. You know, when carbon atoms come together in a haphazard way, it becomes coal, जिसको हम कोयला बोलते हैं. Coal is carbon atoms coming together in a haphazard way. That same carbon atoms, if they are arranged in a hexagonal structure, it becomes graphite. That means its value increases because more orderly arrangement. Remember, I'm going to draw out a very big principle from this. The same carbon atoms, if they are arranged in a tetrahedral structure, those educators from the Faculty of Physics would well understand this. The same carbon atoms, if they are arranged in a tetrahedral structure, it becomes diamond. So coal, graphite, and diamond, they are all nothing but carbon atoms. Coal, graphite is lead, Pb, as we call it, the chemical name of it, and diamond. They're all carbon atoms. But haphazard arrangement is coal, hexagonal arrangement is graphite, tetrahedral arrangement is diamond. The young kids who come to you, the little ones who come to you, are just very raw. The onus lies on the educators to arrange the carbon atoms properly, so each and every student becomes a diamond. The onus lies on the educators. All the little children who come to you are in some way capable of doing something. If somebody is not good at mathematics, he may be good at physics. If some student is not good at biology, he must be good at some art. It is in the best practices of a teacher. It is the moral duty of the teacher to know in which department, in which faculty, in which field a particular student has a liking, and more than liking, has some kind of talent, more than talent, has some kind of inbuilt expertise, which you need to arrange it in a tetrahedral structure so he becomes a diamond in his field. The onus lies on the educators. Now my question to all you educators is, you have a muster of all the students. Many of you are principals, less of you are teachers. But then today, at this moment, on this day, 22nd May 2021, I want to ask you principals who have joined today and the educators, those students who are presently in your institute, have you listed out 5, 7 or 10 students to specially concentrate on them, to give them a tetrahedral structure? This is strengthening the roots. This is enriching the roots of the students, so they have strong and long flying wings of being an ace professional and a great human being. As simple as that. So when perhaps each and every student comes to you, he looks like a coal, but to make it a graphite and to make it a diamond, the onus lies on you. And that we need to do it very carefully, very punctually, and from the core of our heart, we need to indulge ourselves fully into the lives of our students. This is how you can do. You know, when you go close to your students, beyond your academic sessions, most of the teachers, what they do, they're very good at their academic sessions. All salutes to them. But beyond your academic sessions, you need to know your students personally, not just by names. If you want to strengthen their roots and thus the wings, take personal interest in your classes, take personal interest in your students. I would tell you, our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj knew, I am without any exaggeration, would tell you, he knew more than 25,000 people by name and face. Because I took Diksha at his hands way back in 1991 after finishing my engineering. We had 1,200 saints in the organization, and more than 750 of them are graduates, postgraduates, chartered accountants, doctors, and engineers. We run 162 different kinds of activities, and we are a worldwide NGO with a permanent status in the United Nations as an NGO. You might all have visited, as Mukesh said, that at the Swaminarayan Akshardham in New Delhi, 110 acres campus exhibiting the greatness of Indian culture and tradition to its maximum. And from its inauguration in 2005 till date, we have had 17,000 footfalls a day and people bettering their lives after visiting Akshardham. Such more than 1,300 institutes of social service we BAPS run all over the world. That is more than 1,300 campuses, hospitals, hostels, schools, colleges, community centers, sanskar kendras, mandirs, and akshardhams. And we saints are directly involved in the administration and the management of all these institutes. So it is not just that learning a couple of codes and remembering a couple of examples that I'm coming in front of you today. Since last 30 years, we're involved in the management administration. Here in Vadodara, where I'm talking to you, we have a 1,200 students residential English medium school. And that school contains within its campus a cricket ground of the size of a real cricket ground for the students. For the 1,200 students, 600 is residential and 600 is like, for them, it is a day school. So this happens. And so sharing with you something that I've experienced is that you need to take personal interest. Otherwise, being an educator for 40 years, 4 decades of your career will pass, fine. You've done a great job. But what you are supposed to do primarily, and something that could benefit the nation, of creating diamonds, you missed out. And you can, if you take personal interest and keep your eyes and minds open, if you keep your ears open, and if you keep your senses open, you can pick up such diamonds in the midst of the whole class of students. You know what happened once? You know, there was and there is MRF Foundation for creating pace bowlers in India. And Dennis Lilly, the great paceman from Australia, he was the chairman of this institute. MRF Tires had created this foundation to create fast bowlers in India. And in one such camp many years back, few youngsters went there to show their fast bowling skills, and Dennis Lilly was like observing them all and deciding upon their careers. One of the boy, short in height, used to bowl quite a good pace. He had good swing, short run up, but good pace. Lilly was a bit impressed. The next day, all the bowlers were asked to bat. Just that Lilly wanted to know who can be real all-rounders out of just not being pace bowlers. And the next day, everybody batted for about 2 hours, that is facing 12 deliveries. When this short boy was bowling really good pace with swing, he took his stance at the crease and played a couple of deliveries. Dennis Lilly stood up from his chair a few meters away and walked to that boy and said, "You are not catching the ball again." And that little boy was stunned. He must be like 13 or 14. And he said, Sir, why? Dennis Lilly said, "You want to become a pace bowler?" He said, "Yes, sir. It is my dream to become a pace bowler for my country. And I'm confident. I do bowl well." Dennis Lilly said, "Yes, you can be a good bowler for your country. But the way you have caught your bat, the grip of your bat, the way you stand at the crease, and the way I see your footwork, the way I see the art that you put into the swing of your willow, you can be a great batsman." The little boy said, sir, but I have never dreamed of becoming a batsman. I always want to become a good bowler. Dennis Lilly said, "Yes, you can be a good bowler, but you can be a great batsman. Choice is now yours to become a good one or a great one." And the little boy was shocked. "Sir, I always dreamed of becoming a good bowler." Again, Dennis Lilly said that you possess a great batting skill. At that time, Dennis Lilly said, "You can become the second Don Bradman upon this planet if you believe what I say. Because out of all my experience of international cricket of 30 years, I see a great batsman in you. I see a second Donald Bradman in you. If you believe my words, I can make up your career." And the little boy believed in the words of such an experienced, mature, and good-willing teacher. And the boy practiced more of batting. And today, the whole world knows that little boy by the name of Sachin Tendulkar. See what a teacher can do. Strengthen the roots, enrich the roots, make the roots go deep into foundations, and create great wings, strong wings for the students. Dennis Lilly gave Sachin Tendulkar to India. Sachin could have been a good bowler, but the teacher, by all his experience, could see something different in it. I want you all educators to mark out at least one student from all your rich experience of being a good educator for so many years and maybe a couple of decades as well, and carve out one such person. And that makes sense. Thereafter, Ramesh Achareka, the coach, the batting coach, who trained Sachin Tendulkar for better heights. We know him as well. So what I mean to say by these two examples of arranging the atomic carbon atoms in a way that it just don't remain haphazard or even hexagonal, it becomes tetrahedral, so it becomes a diamond. So now after this session, you are picking up 3 or 5 students whom you know out of all the pack, or start that vision from tomorrow that I have 60, 100 200 students, I have 500 students as a principal in my school. I have maybe 2,000 students as a principal. Maybe I have 4,000 students. I want to pick up 5 for special attention. I want to pick up 5 for special design. I want to pick up 5 for special sculpting. Create a Kalam and a Sachin Tendulkar for the country. And your obligation as an educator on this nation, we will never forget. Generations to come will never forget. Because you know, the tradition of Indian culture and lineage, it is always the disciple who gives greatness to the teacher. Teacher create great disciples, and as time goes, students, disciples give more greatness to their teachers. Teachers, they become immortal because of students. By students, I mean student and then into bracket S, okay? Teachers, they get immortality because of student, into bracket S, students. So what I mean to say is that make their roots strong by identifying their talents, by identifying their specialties as Dennis Lilly did for Sachin Tendulkar, by identifying their strengths, working upon it, guiding them, inspiring them to carve out a great personality. Again, I repeat my 2 words, ace professional and a great human being out of it. Your job is to create an ace professional in the respective professional field and a great human being out of your student. So that we can definitely do. Otherwise, do you agree with me that we have more educational institutes today in the society than at any other time we ever had? Yes or no? I'm your tutor at the moment and you are my pupil. So whenever I ask you to raise your finger, you will have to. just creating a lighter moment. What I mean to say is that we have more educational institutes than at any other time in history. We have more educated persons than at any other time in history. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. But you will agree with me when I put forward the statement that we have more. Humanity is a diseased one, isn't it? Humanity is a diseased one. Mankind is in need of something more moral. Mankind is in need of something more spiritual. Mankind is in need of something more moral. Mankind is in need of something more spiritual. I put forward this with logic, not just belief. When I talk of morality and spirituality for strengthening the roots of the students, I put forward a logic. These bombs and missiles are not made by illiterate people. They are made by some of the finest graduates from some of the finest universities in the world. Yes or no?
Yes.
These bombs and missiles and weapons of mass destruction, atomic bombs, nuclear missiles are not made by illiterate people, uneducated people. They are made by some of the finest graduates from some of the finest universities in the world. What does that mean? Just the name of your university does not guarantee producing great human beings. Just your institution standing tall in the society for 100 years or 150 years doesn't mean that it will produce quality human beings. You would be surprised to know that more than 30,000 scientists, I repeat the figure, 30,000 scientists all over the world are working 16 to 18 hours a day in laboratories to produce weapons that can kill human beings. 30,000 scientists. I want to ask those 30,000 scientists, were you taught science by your teachers for this? You were taught science by your teachers to improve the life of people, to better the lives of people, to gift such discoveries and innovations to the society that can make human life and all the existence upon this earth all the living existence upon this earth more happy, to make life more beautiful. Am I right or wrong?
Correct.
But along with education, they were not taught values.
Moral
They were
values.
not taught virtues. They were not taught culture. They were not taught human dignity. They were not taught traditions. And that is why these 30,000 scientists are not scientists, but they are demons. They are not scientists. They are demons because they are creating weapons that can wipe out human populations from upon this earth. So just giving knowledge to your students is not the end of the story. And that is why in our ancient culture, we had two types of vidya, that is knowledge. Aparavidya and Paravidya.
Yes.
Aparavidya is all that you teach. Physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, English, languages, arts, culture, performing arts, everything that you teach is all Aparavidya. And the Paravidya is beyond Maya. Paravidya is creating a great human being. Paravidya is creating morality, spirituality, religiosity, great values and virtues of helping each other, of creating a brethren in the society, of creating oneness in the society, of creating unity in the society. All that teaching of values and virtues in the hearts and minds of students is called Paravidya. So go beyond your Aparavidyas and teach your children Paravidya as well. For that, I give you a very practical suggestion. You being principals, I want to suggest you one thing. How can you teach Paravidya to your students apart from the Aparavidya that you teach? What is the time of your class period? Normally it is like 45 minutes.
40
Let's say it is 40. Let's say it is 45 minutes, okay? Maybe 35 also, as somebody wrote. Okay, fine. For example, if it is 35 minutes. For example, let's take it to be 35 minutes. It should be 30 plus 5, not 35. Now let me explain you what I'm talking. If your class period is 40 minutes, it should be 35 plus 5, not just 40 minutes. Now what is this? If your class period is for 40 minutes, 35 minutes you must teach your subject well. Okay, that you are doing. Last 5 minutes, you must tell inspirational and motivational stories from the great Indian tradition, culture, and history to your children. That is your period of 35 plus 5. That makes 40. Just 5 minutes of inspirational talking to your children. You don't know when one such story penetrates the heart of some student and his life changes. I have tens of examples of this. Somebody wrote just now that I'm doing that in my class. I must especially congratulate them. Somebody said, I agree. Thank you very much for that, for accepting my suggestion. Somebody writes, very good idea. Thanks for accepting this suggestion. But this is for everybody. And somebody said, I will do. Thanks for picking it up well. What I mean to say is that if you can inculcate this, you know, in England, now listen very carefully. Yeah? In the UK, any student who learns history from standard 1 to 12 is always taught only and only and only British history. No European history, no Russian history, no Chinese history, no Indian history, no African history, no American history. A student on the soil of UK, this is a bill passed in the UK Parliament. This is a bill passed in the UK Parliament, so it is a law on the land of UK, on the UK soil, that a student till the class 12 should be taught only and only British history. Why? The one line reason put in this bill is he should be proud of being a British. He should be proud of being an Englishman. And if he wants to learn European history, Russian history, Indian history, or any other history, he can pick up the course of history in his college under graduation after standard 12. When he goes to college, he is free to pick up subjects. So he can, according to his choice. That's fine. By the time his mind is mature enough to be a proud citizen of UK, to be a proud citizen as being the torchbearer of the proud British legacy, of the great British history. I'm a part of it. To have that feeling, to have his heart filled up with that. This is a law made in Britain that from 1 to 12, they are taught only British history. See, nations are doing it. In the same way, perhaps I regret many times that when I was from standard 1 to 12, I was not taught absolute great Indian history, for many reasons. We were taught many other history of invaders, but the great history of the great kings and the great tradition, the culture of India. To make your students being proud citizens, to have them pride of their legacy, they must be taught their ancient roots, their ancient traditions, their culture. And that is how their roots become strong, go deep into the soil, and they get more enriched. And thus they are two wings of being an ace professional and a great human being. For high and long flights, will go strong. As simple as that. Every nation does this. We also need to do this. And that is why I think CEIR, the organization that you all are members of, are proud that we want to inculcate more of Indian Vedic culture, of Indian tradition into our textbooks. See, if you teach, I'm just giving an example. If you teach G for Gada, oh, it's fine. But if you teach G for Ganesh, you are saffronizing education. Again, that props up. But look at the British history. Nobody's there in the country says you are putting more of nationness into it. So sometimes people lack that understanding. We are not against any culture, any tradition. All cultures, all tradition, all thinking are respectively in their positions fine and good. But we as the sons and daughters of this soil, we must first learn our culture, our tradition. We respect all cultures. We respect all traditions. We respect all legacies. We respect all histories. They are fine in their respective ways. But the soil in which I am born, to have more attachment with my roots, with my ancient culture, tradition, I must be taught that more. Otherwise, as Professor Madan here at the MS University in Baroda used to tell years back, that we are producing educated monkeys at the universities. Because as you say, this producing bombs and missiles, they are educated monkeys. What I mean to say is that values and virtues imbibed in the hearts and minds of the students. What are those great values? First great value that we want to teach our children to make their roots strong and thus they are being strong is selfless service to society and nation. In whichever profession you go, you must tell your students, in whichever profession you go, wherever you go, but find some time for selfless service to society and selfless service to nation in some or the other way. See, we have tens and tens of examples in this COVID times that many frontline health workers, frontline workers from other departments like the police, like the government, like the NGOs, they worked selflessly. They came forward because they were taught those values right from their early childhood. They have it in their blood out of legacy of Indian culture. You know, if you go at Harvard University, I was there in the year 2005 in the United States. The principal motto line in the emblem of Harvard University is, I'm putting forward not just word to word, but letter to letter. The principal motto in the emblem of Harvard University, which is considered one of the most prestigious universities in the world today, is enter to learn and leave to serve. Again, I repeat, the principal motto in the emblem of Harvard University is enter to learn and leave to serve. Teach your students. Tell them great stories of Ravi Shankar Maharaj, who selflessly served and converted, brought back to mainstream society tens of dacoits from the Chambal Valley of Madhya Pradesh and made them good Samaritans. Great selfless service. Tell them the story of Dr. Doshi. He was here from a small town in Anand in Gujarat. He performed 3 lakh cataract operations free. And during the inauguration of Swaminarayan Akshardham at Gandhinagar on the first very day, Pramukh Swami Maharaj felicitated him on the stage in the presence of 10,000 people because by then he had completed 3 lakh cataract operations free. So teach them the values of service. Tell your students that, my dear little boy, dear little girl, money is not everything in life. Life is something beyond money. Life is something beyond status. Definitely by all the academics that you've gained, you must earn good money, strive for it. You must try to earn a name in your profession, strive for it. But at the same time, tell your students that life is beyond money and status and name. Life is selfless service to society and nation. You can give this wonderful examples. 2 I quoted of Ravi Shankar Maharaj and Dr. Doshi. You must be knowing another 2, 5, 10 good examples. In the last 5 minutes of your lecture, of your class period, as I said, 40 is not 40 minutes of your time. 40 is 35 plus 5. 40 is 35 plus 5. In that 5 minutes, you need to teach them this. So that spirit comes up. At the same time, if you want to make their roots strong, now I'm coming to something very sensible. So now give your better ears to me. कभी-कभी आप भी students को कहते हो ना? Many times you also tell your students, now students, I'm telling something more important, give your better ear to me. So now let me tell all of you, at least for this 1 hour, I'm your tutor, okay? At least for 1 hour, I'm your educator. So now give me your better ears, okay? I'm telling something more sensible. I'm telling something more important. This social media has, like an anaconda, clutched the hearts, minds, and intellect of the students today. Thousands of intelligent students, thousands of talented students. Mind well, I'm using the words intelligent students and talented students are losing their careers and life because of overexposure to social media. Only 2 people, parents and teachers. Now the onus lies on your shoulders to relieve the students out of this clutches of this anaconda called social media. Whenever I talk to students, I tell them that I'm telling for your good, that until you pass standard 12, you don't need a smartphone, you don't need a net on your phone. Well, it was in an extraordinary circumstance like the COVID, that it was a blessing in disguise that the students had smartphones and net on phones, so they would go for online education. But this is taking a toll on them. 2 hours, 3 hours, and 4 hours exposure to social media. संयम नियम की बात करना बहुत जरूरी है. Restrict yourself from social media. Teach again. Every teacher in every class period must talk of this to students. Every teacher must, that this social media can take away a great career from your life. This social media can drag away good values and virtues from your life. This social media, I know a student, and I don't hesitate in giving his name because now he's quite close, he's friends, and I've taken his permission. Debashish Ghosh. He did his engineering from Ahmedabad, brilliant gold medalist. He did his masters. He was doing his masters from IIT Delhi. He was interested in space technology. And when he was doing his first year of his masters, you would be surprised to know that he wrote a research paper on how to low-level orbiting the satellites can come to take better pictures in geology, to find out minerals from beneath the surface of the earth. He was interested in this subject. Fine, good. His research paper, institutes like the defense forces in India found interesting. His papers, even NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Association, USA, found interesting. And he was called to US. Thereafter, he wrote many, like 18 to 20 research papers on this. And he earned a name for himself overnight. He was offered wonderful places for research in the defense forces in India, at NASA, but he said, no, I want to work for my country. I'll not come to NASA. But thereafter, what happened? A bad turn in his life. He got in the company of some wrong people, got addicted to soft addictions, and thereafter hard addictions, and thereafter drugs, and thereafter other many bad habits. When this institutions came to know about this, they rejected him, took away the certificates that were given to him out of his research papers. He felt no more interested in studies. He could not complete his PG, post-graduation. And today, when I'm talking to you on 22nd May 2021, Debashish Ghosh is working at a small manufacturing unit as an ordinary junior engineer, having just 20,000 rupees salary. A brilliant career ruined because of bad company and overexposure to social media. My topic today, roots to wings. If you can teach your children and make them convinced about the horrors of this overexposure to social media, because now entertainment is non-stop. I don't want to name YouTube channels or other entertainment platforms, but 24/7, by 365, you have entertainment medias. Please, please, please try your best as educators to restrict your children from this. Otherwise, their roots will not go strong and not go deep and not enrich themselves from the great minerals. It will happen like Debashish Ghosh. So onus lies on you, the teachers. In the year 2009, President Barack Obama, listen this very carefully as well. Again, please, my students, give me good ears. President Barack Obama, in the year 2009, he conducted a special meeting of educators and said that I am granting a budget of $204 million, that is 900 crore rupees. For what? President Obama asked the educators to teach brahmacharya to students, to teenagers, boys and girls, to teach these teenagers that restrict yourself from any kind of such physical sexual activities, which can result into teenage pregnancies, which can result into STDs. President Obama was concerned, and he put a budget of $204 million in the year 2009, 12 years ago, and pleading to educators to teach the values of Sanyam and Niyam, to teach the values of abstaining themselves from such activities, to restrict the students from such activities so that they could focus more on their studies. They can have an inclination towards better values and virtues in life. That is why President Obama taught this. That means all those people who have given a thought to making the roots of the students stronger, deeper, and enriched, so that there are two wings. One wing of being an ace professional, another wing of being a great human being, becomes strong for higher and longer flights in life, bettering societies and bettering nations. These are the values we need to teach. And last but not the least, I will complete my talk in the next 3 minutes. Teach your children faith in God. Teach your children to pray to God every day. Teach your children to chant the holy name of God every day. Not because I won saffron and I'm a man of religion that I'm talking to you today. I'm a man of science and a man of religion both. Because I'm an engineer. I did my BE Mechanical. 30 years back, I finished it from one of the most prestigious Sardar Patel universities in Gujarat, India, from BVM, Birla Vishwakarma Mahavidyalaya. And since last 30 years, I'm a man of it. So I'm a combination of science and spirituality. So whatever I will talk to you would be very logical, would be very open, and can be proven by experiments. Why I'm talking that teach your children faith in God, teach them to pray, teach them to chant the holy name. Now again, listen carefully. I end my talk with this example, with this real story. At the University of Philadelphia and at the University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Andrew Newberg and Dr. Ed G. Coyne, I'm giving you names. You can go on Google and see and find for yourself what I'm talking. They conducted an experiment on 4,000 people, 4 groups of 1,000 each of different age groups. They were asked to chant the holy name of the God, in whichever form of God that they believed in, for about 10-12 minutes. Before that, their minds were scanned by special psychoneuro softwares, MRIs done, mind mapping done. So which type of thoughts can generate which type of hormones, release which type of hormones in your body from your pituitary glands and other glands. Absolutely a scientific experiment. They were made to do it 4 or 5 times. Then they were all the subjects, all 4,000 subjects were asked to go back to their homes, do it regularly for 8 weeks and again come back. They came back. They did faithfully for 8 months because they were part of the subject, part of the experiment. Now listen carefully. After 8 months, they were again subjected to psychoneuro software version 2.0, their mind mapping and MRIs done after chanting the holy name. And do you know what they found out? The conclusion report you can find on the website of these universities. Those children in the age group of 4 to 12, if they chanted the holy name for 10 to 12 minutes every day, they found by psychoneuro softwares that they had 15 to 25% increase in their memory power. What an advantage to a student for chanting the holy session. What an advantage. Imagine if all the students in your class or in your school as a principal, if their memory power increases by 15 to 25% of all the students, wouldn't it be the happiest moment, happiest day, and the happiest event of your life as an educator? Yes or no? Come on, my students. If you say yes, just raise your hands.
100% agree.
If If the memory power of all the students of your school increases by 15% and they start scoring wonderfully, start bringing out the name of your institute at state level, at national level, there can be nothing bigger than this in your life as an educator. That your students bringing out your name and the name of your institute. Second thing, those students in the age group of 12 to 22, that is teenagers and youngsters, they, by chanting the holy name of God for 10 to 12 minutes every day, the psychoneuro software version 2.0 at the University of Philadelphia, they found out that there was 17 to 20% increase in their willpower and confidence level. Now imagine if these teenagers, teenagers are very like, should I do this or should I do that? My teacher says this, my friend says this, my mom says this. And they're not able to come to it because that age from 12 to 18 or 20 is the age where they're not able to make a good decision. They see many ways right in front of them. They need good guidance. But imagine if they are 15 to 17 to 20% increase in their willpower and confidence. They can better judge events. They can take better short-term and long-term decisions. That is very helpful for their life and careers. And that is a pride for you as an educator as well, that your teenagers and youngsters are taking up good decisions of their life. So again, this helps. Those in the age group of 22 to 60, that we all are today in the webinar. All of us are in the age group of 22 to 60, isn't it? Those people had the advantage that while chanting the holy name for 10 minutes every day, they had about 25% increase in their buffer capacity. That is the capacity to absorb shocks of life. Every shock that comes, majorly it comes in this age group of 22 to 60. So if you have 15-25% increase in the buffer capacity strength, you can withhold yourself. You can withstand the adversities of life better. Practically, if you have a divorce, still you can come to the class and teach your students well, as you taught in the previous days. Because you have a better buffer capacity, better withstand yourself in the adversities of life. And lastly, in the age group of 60 to 80, the last age group, the fourth age group was 60 to 80. That is retired people and old age people. They had the advantage, these two professors at these two universities found out that they had this advantage that this age group had 15 to 25% increase in their immune capacity. That is their immune strength by chanting the holy name of God, which is most needed in this age group today in this COVID times. So in the conclusion report, they wrote that 10 to 12 minutes of chanting the holy name of God can increase your memory power, can increase your willpower, can increase your confidence level, can increase your buffer capacity, and can increase your immune system. I think this 5 increased by 15 to 25% is heaven on earth. This 5 qualities is heaven on earth if it increases to 15 to 25%. Teach your children faith in God. So strengthening the roots, I taught you 3 things in the second half of my talk. In the second half of my talk, I taught you 3 things for strengthening the roots of your children. First, selfless service to society and nation. Second, restricting and abstaining themselves from more of sensual pleasures so that they have better concentration and better focus on their academics and life. And third, faith in God. This strengthens the roots, deepens the roots, enriches the roots, and thus strengthens the wings. One wing is professional, second wing, great human being. So the bird will fly to greater heights and lengthier flights. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. I would just end that our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj often used to say that the heart of education is the education of heart. I want all of you to repeat with me, please. I want all of you to repeat with me the words of my Guruji, which are very apt for today's session. The heart of education, please repeat with me.
The heart of education
Is
Yes.
the education of heart.
education of heart.
Of art.
Please, one more time. The heart of
Heart.
education
The
The
heart
heart
of education
Education
is
is
the education of heart.
education of
education
heart.
of heart.
Thank you very much. And my prayers for you all educators and prayers for your students, that you, out of your students, create great human beings and thus great societies and great nations. Thank you very much. Pranams and Jai Swami Narayan.
Yes, Amina.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Krishna.
A truly inspirational session. We cannot thank you enough. We're absolutely
Yeah.
gratified for having spent so much of time with us. And like a true teacher, you have spoken like a teacher. In fact, in your session, we could, as educators, see all the strategies that we kind of use, when we try and address our students to make it interesting. The anecdotes were brilliant, truly inspirational anecdotes that you had selected. And of course, the points of strengthening the root so that the wings could go higher and stronger is a brilliant line that we will take forward with when we go ahead. I would now invite my colleague Bhavik Parekh, principal of the Bright Day School from Vadodara, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Bhavik.
Thank you, sir. Uh, Thank you to Dr. Gyanvatsaldas Swami, Jai Swaminarayan once again. What a webinar. What a takeaway from this. As a principal, as a teacher, or as a human being, I would say excellent, mesmerizing. I would also like to thank our moderator, Mr. Mukesh Shalit, for coordinating with Gyanvatsaldas Swamiji and providing us such a knowledgeable, inspirational, motivational webinar. Now, there are definitely some takeaways from the webinar. The fantastic examples of Peshwa Madhav Rao, the boast that is knowledge. Knowledge is immortal. Knowledge can be shared. Land can be lost. Money can be lost, but knowledge can never be lost. That is what we are going to take from the webinar today, Swamiji. Creating students to fly, that is ace professional and a great human being. So we as educators, we as principals, teachers are going to identify our diamonds. We are going to identify the tetrahedral structures rather than having the haphazard structures. And definitely restricting our children, that is Sanyam and Niyam. We are never going to forget. And the three important things which last you told: selfless service on society, faith in God, and then the restrictions, because we don't want 30,000 scientists who are destructors, but we want them as innovators. We want Dr. Kalamji, whose dream is, a dream should be such that never allows you to sleep. We don't want that sleep, but we want people who can create society, wonderful society. I would also like to thank our core team of CIR, technical team of CIR, all the board of directors, CIR zonal directors, premium members, principals, teachers who attended the session. I would also like to thank the Veda Handwriting Lab for unstinted support to CIR and Dr. Srishan Gopinath, the founder of CIR. Now there are some announcements. That is on 25th of May, 4 p.m. We have a webinar on 3D approach, raising 21st century children who succeed both inside and outside the school, by Mr. Mayank. We also have a paid session on 25th May, Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. by Ms. Akanksha Pandey, a consultant clinical psychologist, Bengaluru, on topic basic online counseling skills for teachers. We also request schools to visit vedahandwritingkit.com, Campus Connect, and try Veda Handwriting Kit. We also request to join feedback page as well as Telegram groups for updates about our programs. And on 30th May, we will be having a handwriting challenge for teachers and students. That is from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Thank you once again, Swamiji, and Jai Swaminarayan and Vande Gurum to all.
I would also
Swamiji want to
like
say something. Swamiji want to say something.
Yeah.
Please, Swamiji.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So we had a good session, but I think still my homework is yet to be delivered to you, because you as pupils, you will have some homework from me after my today's class period.
You
So
can
are you ready
speak.
for the
Please, sir.
homework that I want to give you?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Please,
Swamiji. Sure.
please,
Yes,
sir.
Swamiji. Yes.
Yeah. Before you retire for the day, before you go to sleep today, you are picking up your pen and a piece of paper and writing down the name of 5 students which you are picking up for special attention and special care. This is my homework to you. And today I have the right to give you the homework because I took your class.
Sure, sir.
Yes, you're blessed, sir.
So pick up 5 students and for special attention, for special care, and that could be something that you can give to the society and the nation. Thank you very much for accepting my homework.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you,
Indebted
Swami.
to you, sir.
We'll certainly do that.
Thank you very much. And
Mukesh
hope we
sir,
meet again.
Thank you.
And hope we meet again in person someday, somewhere.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Sure,
Once
sir, we
we
will.
become normal.
So nice.
thank you, Samji. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shall I take your leave?
Please, sir.
Yes, Swamiji. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All prayers for all of you. All prayers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vande Guru. Vande Guru. Thank you.
Vande, vande.
Yes, Swami. Yes, Swami.
Okay. So happy weekend, all the participants. Next Saturday we will meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Srisan.
Vande
Thank you.
Guru. Vande Guru to all. Vande
Vande
Guru.
Guru. Vande.
Great, sir. Wonderful.
Vande Guru, Vande
Wonderful session.
Thank you, Suresh sir.